What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Al, the founder of UDK Sports Talk, and in today's video we're going to be bringing you all another episode of the Knicks weekly recap, in which I give you all my thoughts and opinions following the games that we just saw our New York Knicks play. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and sub to the channel. Check off the bell notification icon to become part of the family. That being said, let's get into it. So we started off the week with a stinker. We did not play up to our expectations against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the team that is chasing us down in the standings, the team that wants all the smoke with the third or second seed, and they are playing absolutely phenomenal basketball following acquiring James Harden. Now here we are. We play the Cavaliers and we look like we're lacking on our energy side. We look like we're not locked in. We look disconnected defensively, and we really resemble a team that when our jumpers aren't falling, our energy lacks. And in my opinion, you don't want to see that from what we all believe to be a championship contending team. You know, when you think about the effort, this is the issue. We lack with our effort defensively, and it's like the teams want it more than us, and it's completely bogus in my opinion, because there are certain standards that we need to raise our games to in order for us to consistently beat these good teams. And here's the caveat: the Knicks have beat good teams this year, but for whatever reason, they give us the highest of highs, but they also give us the lowest of lows, and we don't have nothing in terms of the consistency with this team in terms of being in that middle ground. Like, how good can we be consistently? And then when you look at us not shooting well against Cleveland, but also Jalen Brunson having the off game, us phasing out Karl-Anthony Towns. How did we get here? Karl-Anthony Towns was absolutely balling. He has it going in the first half against Cleveland, but yet we don't give him the ball. What are we doing? And I gotta put all the onus on Mike Brown, because you saw that cat had it going. You saw they had no answers for him. You saw him getting comfortable. You saw him getting to the rack. You saw him shoot the three comfortably. That was one of those games in which Karl-Anthony Towns could have literally taken over the game and won you the game. But yet your reluctance on wanting to get him the ball is why we lost this game. Now again, we have Karl-Anthony Towns who's phased down, and I believe that I can say this just like everybody else can that's a Knicks fan. In order for us to get to where we want to get to, Karl-Anthony Towns has to play a significant role in us getting there. He's a 7-footer who has a complete offensive bag, who can get to the cup, lay it in, finish. He can also shoot the three. But yet, however, we do not utilize this man and let his talent be a big focal point in trying to open up everything else for other people. Can you think about how great it would be to get him in the post, allow people to come and double him because he's cooking, and then you get a whole bunch of open looks to everybody else. And if you get Brunson and him to cook together, it makes everybody else's job much more simple. But yet here we are with another game in which we fail to meet the expectations. We followed that loss up with an absolute beauty of a game against Milwaukee. And granted, Milwaukee, they're not the best of teams. They won 8 of 10 going into that game. But, you know, even though they were hot, with the way the Knicks defense has been playing, it's been a struggle for us to consistently beat these type of teams. As you saw in the previous week going up against Chicago. But yet they handle business. The three-point shots are falling. Jalen Brunson takes over in the first. And then you saw Karl-Anthony Towns get his shots in a limited situation. And then he started putting up numbers, but then you look at the team and it's like OG Anunoby gets it going. Karl-Anthony Towns takes over for a brief moment and gets his buckets. Jalen Brunson sets the terms. And the next thing you know, we got Mo Diawara getting those minutes again, and he looks like an absolute stud. So again, Mike Brown makes the right decisions in this game, and now here we are. A much improved team. You see the energy, you see the grit, you see everything that we want to see in our New York Knicks. This is the issue. We get the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, right? And we all see now, I love Jeremy Sohan and what he brings defensively, but he has no offensive bag. And you look at what Mo Diawara brings to the table. His length, his wingspan, his athleticism. I said it in one of my previous videos. Mo Diawara is of that Pascal Siakam make, that OG Anunoby mold. And that is the Knicks' key in order for them to get to where they want to get to. If they can develop him, he can not only become a great 3-and-D player off the bench, this guy could potentially become a quality starter with all-star potential if they develop him the right way, and you got him on a rookie deal. The Knicks never get this lucky, but we somehow got extremely fortunate with Mo Diawara. Now, we follow this up with the game that just happened today, the San Antonio Spurs game, in which the Knicks came out a little sloppy to start, but then Brunson got it cooking and they never looked back. You see, in this game, this is why Knicks fans get extremely frustrated, because you show the grit, you show the energy, you show the defensive tenacity, you show the cohesiveness defensively, you show the togetherness, and then you'll go up in the following game and you'll lose it all. There needs to come a point in time. We are at that stretch in the season in which you need to lock it in. Going into the playoffs, playing great basketball, getting hot. Similar to what's going on with the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. The Cleveland Cavaliers are playing very similar to the Indiana Pacers last year when they got hot at the right time. You need to start playing great basketball consistently. You want to prove you're a contender to the whole world? Because I believe we are. But you want to prove it to everyone else who doubts us? Go 5-0 on this next couple of games, on this stretch against all these tough teams, and watch how everybody throws respect on the Knicks name. But again, going back to today's game, you saw when they're locked in defensively, they're able to get stops to keep the game close, and then eventually their three ball starts falling. And then once that happens, everything else opens up. And you saw today, Mo Diawara absolutely lighting it up from three. He had a couple that went in and out. Mo Diawara is the key. They wanted to leave him open, and he made them pay. I got to give a shout out to Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges lit it up as well. He finally played up into that contract. He finally looked like the player that we all wanted to see. OG Anunoby had a solid game. Karl-Anthony Towns had a solid game, but again, you saw it. They didn't want to get him involved, but every time Karl-Anthony Towns was playing within the flow, he was able to get his own shot, and I still believe, even though this is a tough win, and even though we see how great this team can be, you need to absolutely get the big man involved. You get Cat involved, and that is your key. Before I forget, there was one thing that I had noticed in these past two games in which teams were trying to implement this defensively going up against us. It looks like they have went back to that wing on Cat, big sagging off of Hart defense that we struggled with last year. And so far, especially in the last two games, Josh Hart has made them pay. But what they're probably going to be implementing going forward, because in that game against Milwaukee, they were allowing him to be ridiculously open, trying to guard the paint. If they're going to do that, teams are going to start saying, Josh Hart, you're going to have to beat us in order for the Knicks to win. Now, if that is indeed the case, where do the Knicks go following this? Do you go with benching him and starting Shaman to get more three-point shooting? Or do you bench Hart and go with Robinson? Again, the Knicks' success is going to be predicated on, can Karl-Anthony Towns take that next step and play consistently at a great number? Can Jalen Brunson feed Karl-Anthony Towns and get him involved? But ultimately, when they face this defense, can Josh Hart make the shots necessary to get them out of this defense? Again, it is a short sample size. We saw it against Milwaukee, and we saw it briefly against San Antonio. Again, we hit our shots, but that's going to be a look that these teams are going to consistently look to go to if we don't hit our jumpers. The question becomes is, can the Knicks hit their shots consistently enough to stay out of that defense, and can they get enough stops during the course of a game when their three balls are falling and when their jumpers aren't falling from the midi? That's going to be the ultimate question with our New York Knicks. But overall, we went 2-1 on this stand. We look good. We see that we have the potential. And now it is time to take it to the next level. Let's get into this next phase, playing great, consistent basketball. I love what I see. I see that OG Anunoby's getting it going. Mikal Bridges might have finally turned the corner, but we got to get Cat to the next level. We saw everything that we needed to see from our New York Knicks. Can we turn this corner? Can we continue this play? Jalen Brunson seems to have found it a little bit in terms of scoring and facilitating. JB gets us on track. He's the key. He is going to be the key to our success, because ultimately he is the scorer, but he also is the facilitator, and he needs to get everybody else involved. And in my opinion, they need to get to a point where they respect Cat, because I don't believe that they're clicking on both sides. They need to respect Cat enough where they respect his ability and they start letting him cook and start feeding him in the post. You let him get his confidence and you let him play at a high level, it's going to make everybody else's job easier. We went 2-1 on this stretch. I am happy with the progression. I'm encouraged, I should say, but at the end of the day, how do we follow this up? They've shown the world that they could do it, because this is the thing. We've seen it. It's not that we haven't seen it. We've seen it. When it clicks, they look special. And it looks like what they've envisioned for this team long term. But when they're not clicking, it looks awful. Can we get to a point with our New York Knicks when they consistently play at this level, at special, for a postseason stretch? If they do that, they have a legit chance to go all the way this season. I don't want to hear nobody else talk about this to me. It's a clear want and grit thing with the New York Knicks, especially going up against the Pistons. We saw what the San Antonio Spurs did to the Pistons in Detroit. They came to MSG, and we saw what the Knicks did to the Spurs at MSG and how they locked in. I said it before, and I said it on multiple platforms, that the New York Knicks issue with the Pistons is not a schematics issue, it's not a talent issue. What it is simply is, I want it more than you issue. And the Knicks have to meet the energy. They do this, they're going to be in a very, very good spot. I'm not going to sit here and say from this stretch that, oh, we're going all the way. No, I still believe, and I said this before, no matter how good or bad they're playing, I still believe this team is a legit contender, and they're a top 4 team in the NBA and arguably a top 3 team. The only question is going to be, can you win a championship where 2 of your best offensive players are defensive liabilities? But with that being said, you guys, don't forget to like, comment, and sub to the channel. Check off the bell notification icon to become part of the family. This is another weekly Knicks recap in which I give you all my opinion following the recent Knicks games. But that's all I got for you guys. Stay blessed, and I'll catch you on the next one.